Hashtag bitch. Mission failed. Oh shit, we only have 24 seconds. Back over to attack type after I'd already lost most of my health.
Oh look, I said something and now he wants to fight me. Nope. It's okay, buddy. I got something for you.
That. Has Kakashi been stuck up there this whole time? Did I just glitch the game somehow? Oh my gosh, someone clip this. Oh, let me get closer to the live before you do. Look at Kakashi, he's been stuck dead this whole time. Trapped in this icicle prison thing. Game is so glitchy.
Hey, Albert.
That was pretty cool. Let me clip where I had clip that part where I got both Hinata and Kakashi with the Reaper Death Seal. Because that was pretty fun. I wouldn't say Body Blow is OP, but it definitely, that armor that it gained, I don't want to chew into the microphone, I'm sorry if I did.
You totally did. I wonder if your stream can actually hear me. I don't know if I'm quiet or if I'm like normal sounding.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Kane Reval and
Dandy man,
who's blazing it up in my studio, dude. What the heck?
Yo,
We don't do drugs here.
Yeah, we do. Look at all these fucking needles on the floor. There's no needles on the floor, by the way.
It's like, let's here at Kane Reval Creations, we want to ensure that there are no drugs being used. So, anyways, guys, this is a little bit different from our standard, like, style stream, I know, but, like, we figured that we were going ahead and do something a little different. And I just thought this would be really fun, if we, talked about, our I guess what we would consider our like I guess definitive weapon tier list on our like personally speaking at least.
Yeah.
And so I figured that we could kick that off here with something real simple. People, if you guys have any opinions, feel free to share. We encourage thoughtful debate and conversation. I think that we have to start with what I would honestly consider the poster child of weapons of Monster Hunter, that being the Greatsword. I think overall, I would probably rate Greatsword low B and maybe an upper C.
I say low S, high A.
All right, so set it here for now. Here's my reasoning, okay? And this is a very important thing to consider when it comes to the Greatsword. In Generation 1, it missed every sense of identity it has nowadays. Whereas like it didn't have the charge mechanic. It was just a high damage, very slow weapon. And if you take into consideration how long it takes to charge up your strongest attacks, it can be a bit of a hassle, especially for new players when it comes to using the Greatsword. I do think that Rise with the addition of like the Surge / combo, allowing a much faster, weaker variation of the Greatsword gives people, I guess, that more of I guess another way in order to play with a weapon. Honestly, if it wasn't for that, I don't know if I'd play Greatsword. Most of the time, whenever I pick up the Greatsword, I put it down almost immediately. Probably 1 to 2 hunts at maximum. But Generations Ultimate and Rise both made the Greatsword very playable and very fun.
Yes.
It took the weapon in a much faster paced direction, which is necessary. I would much rather trade off having a little bit less damage if it meant that I could actually land my fucking attacks. Now the thing is, like the charge mechanic on the sword can actually do some crazy damage, but you will never ever hit the monster if you don't know what you're going up against. And so I think that layer of intimidation, that layer of difficulty, brings the weapon down just a little bit. And I think that like while Rise and Generations Ultimate also did good things to help benefit the Greatsword, that's obviously a portable series only kind of thing that seems to be happening. And so I don't see that going forward in the main series. But go ahead. What about you?
I think the Greatsword should be higher, not just because how good it can be with its potential, but it's also one of the most iconic weapons in Monster Hunter series. When people think big damage, they look at the Greatsword.
I agree. Like I said, I believe that the Greatsword is like the poster child of the Monster Hunter series. Anytime you see a protagonist, almost always a protagonist in the Monster Hunter series are generally always wielding a Greatsword. There are a few exceptions, obviously, but like you got World, you got the guy with the Greatsword. I mean, like in Re-Ultimate, you had the guy with Rathalos Greatsword, and like just the Greatsword happens just to be that weapon that they show a lot because people like it, and it's got a lot. That honestly, the factor of cool brings it up a lot for me personally.
Yes.
I wouldn't rate it higher, though, personally, if I were to judge it on its mechanical.
Yes.
Mechanical.
But there's also another mechanic you're completely forgetting about, and that is the block.
I knew you were going to mention the block, and again, Rise did a lot in order to actually help this. A lot of weapons that have blocking abilities, especially with like the Greatsword or the Charge Blade, you lose sharpness when it comes to blocking these attacks, and depending on the attack that you block, it could take out whole ass chunks
Yeah.
of your sharpness gauge. And so I want to say, like, yeah, that's a thing I can do. It can block, but you're already dealing with a weapon that may or may not have the best sharpness quality. Because, like, that with, like, greatsword, you're not swinging it nearly as much.
Yeah.
So, like, you could go by with having, like, slivers of sharpness because it'll last you for a good while. But losing that sharpness from attacks can be potentially bad. But I get it.
Also with the right decorations and build.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't. If we're going to talk about the potential for all of these weapons, every weapon would be an S rank.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right.
Let's not talk about that, because, like, no matter how we go about this tier list, I want to. There's one thing that whenever I first got into playing Monster Hunter, what got me into playing Monster Hunter was the Beginner's Guide to Monster Hunter made by Bro Jared. And he said something that I repeat to this day, and I'm pretty sure you've heard it from me before. And it's like, what weapon in Monster Hunter is the best? And there's always one definitive answer. They are all the best. And I stand by that. Like I said, if we were going to rate all the potential of all these weapons, everything would be an S rank. Absolutely.
Okay,
But I'm talking...
I feel like it should at least be an A.
We'll agree to disagree. We'll keep it in. We'll put it in middling of B. There's a bit of a discrepancy here. You're like wanting an S, and I'm like, all right. I'm thinking it belongs in C. So we'll meet in the middle. It'll be up a high B. We'll rate it a high B. All right. So, from the most iconic weapon to the weapon that pretty much everybody starts off with, the sword and shield. I'm pretty sure I don't even have to, like, I'm probably not surprising you at all, Danny, whenever I say that it's a very easy low S, high A. Very, very high A.
I agree with you there.
And
It wasn't garbage. Put it in D.
And here's my reasoning for it. In almost at least from Generation 4 and onward, because I can't speak for what came before. The sword and shield has always given some level of connection to that game's gimmick. In Generation 4, with 4 Ultimate and mounting being the new gimmick and that whole thing, Sword and Shield had multiple methods of being able to do multiple mid-air attacks. They had a double mid-air attack that they could do climbing a ledge. They had a double mid-air attack they could do from launching off of a ledge. And that's not even accounting for aerial style that comes with Generation 4's Monster Hunter Generations and Generations Ultimate. And then when you come into like World, and World's gimmick using the slinger, Sword and Shield was originally the only weapon that could use the slinger while the weapon was unsheathed. Just like the Sword and Shield's obvious ability to be able to use items while unsheathed. Pretty much the only thing that really holds the Sword and Shield back is Generation 1, because it was just terrible. A lot of weapons were terribly designed in Generation 1. But like you've got incredible elemental damage. You've got essentially a one size fits all kind of setup.
Yeah. It does blunt and sharp damage.
Exactly. And like let's say if you're using a weapon with a small set of sharpness, using the shield attacks can actually prevent you from using your sharpness entirely.
Yeah.
And let's not forget Generation 4 and Generations with oils.
Yep.
And oil.
Destroyer oil.
There's a hunting art that actually has all oil effects, and you can combine it with regular oils on top of it. And so oils in Generations made Sword and Shield absolutely busted. And
it's also still not Slouch and Rise either.
No. As a matter of fact, but the thing is, and someone said this, and I was a bit disgruntled at first, but then it actually hit me. It makes a whole lot of sense. Sword and Shield has become an insanely good, if not the best, support weapon. because it can always do a little bit of everything. You're with an
Yeah.
insect glaive user, you have multiple ways of being able to do aerial attacks as well. You're with a hammer user, you can go to cut the tail. When you're done, you can help them slam down with shield bash attacks.
Yeah.
If you're in a longsword team, you have in Rise you have access to counters.
Yeah.
So like no matter like what kind of team you're in, you're pretty much good no matter what. And you slap on wide range and all sorts of different wide range applicable like items.
Yeah.
You
You be the team healer.
you could be the team healer while never having to stop doing damage.
Yeah.
Sword and shield is legitimately just an absolute beast of a weapon that I believe, like I said, I would say it's low S, like middle low S,
Yeah.
very very high A.
Yes.
And that's just because like it's not perfect in every regard, but if you need something for everything, the sword and shield has you, and literally it's crazy. So what about you? How do you feel besides just saying the same thing? But how do you
I
feel
don't know,
about the
you
sword and
said
shield?
so much about the sword and shield. I don't know what's left to say, but let's see. Oh, I think you went over.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, so to be fair, whenever I say that, I was thinking about doing this for a minute. I've had several days to just sit and think about what my feelings
You're
on each of the
way
weapons.
ahead of me.
I tried telling you about this a few days ago, so you could start doing some so you can start writing some notes or something. All right, what weapon do you think we should cover next? Because those were the only two that I wanted to start off with. 'Cause I thought it would be a good progression.
Insect glaive.
Insect glaive. All right.
Low A, high B.
Low A, high B. Okay. I would say probably right about there. High B or so.
Yeah.
And since I keep talking a lot, you go ahead and tell me why.
Okay, I do not know much about the insect glaive. I've never really used it much, but when I do use it, I do like the rhythm of it. Where you have to send out your God, what's it? The Kinsect.
The Kinsect.
Kinsect out to find the monster wing spot and get the colors. I can't remember what they do. Help me out, Kane.
Okay, so you got red extract that increases attack, orange extract, which increases defense and also gives you low grade earplugs. You got white extract, which acts as like a catalyst and enhances the effects of the other two, while also having the effects of increasing jump height and movement speed.
Mm-hmm.
And when combined with the red extract, it increases the attack power further. And then when combined with the orange extract, it increases the defense even further. And then by combining all three extracts, you get a triple up buff, which increases the effects of all three, as well as also giving you high rank or high grade earplugs.
Yeah.
So yeah. I get what you're
The only thing I would would say is not so great about is probably the damage it deals. It hits a lot. I think it makes up by hitting a lot though. You can just stay in the air for days, never touch it. Oh my god, let's talk about how great it was in Generations with aerials. It was like the definitions of, yeah, you want to mount? I'ma mount it.
Okay. All right. So here's why if I were to judge it based on my personal experience alone, I would probably actually rate Insect Glaive a little bit lower. It's an incredibly fun weapon to use, honestly. In World, it was my go-to weapon. Shout out to the Behemoth Insect Glaive. The Gabolg is still my favorite design. The Behemoth made the best weapon. Both the Kinsect and the Insect Glaive. I think the enhancements they made to the Insect Glaive World and onwards were incredibly good enhancements to the weapon, but ultimately it took away a little bit of the identity. It made the weapon pretty much only about doing aerial shit, because you had so many ways of being able to maintain and keep your momentum in air. Now, as a mounting weapon, it was incredibly good, and I think it was, and ultimately that's why I mained it alongside Charge Blade in my 4 Ultimate run, because I loved the mounting mechanic. I wanted to engage.
Oh my god, mounting for days. I would try to.
It was so good for that. But after learning more about the game and realizing just how much, how you couldn't risk too much, especially in 4 Ultimate when it initially came out. In Generations, it got a lot better because, like in group fights, every hit's benefiting the person that's mounting them.
Yeah.
But in World, they ultimately changed the mounting mechanic that ultimately made mounts feel less impactful. And then in Rise, the mounting mechanics is completely different again as well. And so while the Insect Glaive is an incredibly good weapon and has been a really incredible weapon, so many weapons now can do what it was known for. And
it kind of lost its identity along the way.
Exactly. And it's still an incredibly fun aerial weapon, but like they had to reduce the effectiveness of its mounting attacks by so much because of it that you'll be outgunned doing mounting damage by a sword and shield who knows how to use the environment.
Yeah.
And then and especially in Rise, since everybody has access to the ability to jump in midair now, because you have the wire bugs. Mm-hmm. Aerial attacks are easier than ever. So, and while it is tied to a resource, I don't think it's that big of a resource.
Yeah.
And in Generations Ultimate, actually, funny enough, I didn't really find myself using the Insect Glaive much either. Because again, you had aerial style with multiple different weapons.
I just used aerial style with dual blades and basically did the same thing.
Exactly. So even in you have this core mechanic that the weapon's supposed to be known for, and it loses out some of it because so many weapons can do it now. So that's why I would probably rate it just a little bit lower personally, but I think B is a good spot. I think being behind Greatsword is just fine. All right, next up, I'm going to give you this one. Hammer. How would you rate that one?
Low S, high A.
Low S, high A? Okay, I would probably rate it somewhere around A, around an A as well. Mm-hmm. And I'll let you go ahead and talk more about this because you know more about it than I do.
Okay, I think the hammer's always been a good weapon. I haven't played the original games, I think, or Kane's area, but I've started since Try, and I've used it in Try. Great, and I occasionally used it then on. Then Rise really got me into it, and the capabilities all it could do. It's like the Great Sword, but if it could actually hit, because it actually swings faster, so you can actually deal more hits, and there's so many things you can do with it. You could win the spin, whirly dash, fucking combo, and then big hit at the end. There's so many things you can do with the hammer. And now with Rise, you can counter with it. I mean, in Rise, I think you can counter with every weapon now.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Just about every weapon got some
but that's pretty dope.
So I agree. I agree that the weapon is overall a very, very potent weapon. If it was from my personal experience, I could not rate this thing higher than a C. Mm-hmm. Just because personally, I have not been able to perform well with a hammer ever, and I've tried, and personally, and this is coming from I started playing in 4 Ultimate, and the Charge Blade was my starting weapon. and learning the how to use the charge blade and everything else. I stress this whenever I say that it is intimidating, the complexity of the hammer. One button has like 13 different uses for the hammer. And I get that it's just a matter of like when you want to charge it and when you want to let it go. But when you have one button that has like 16 separate options it could turn into, it's really intimidating. Like,
Really?
And the thing is, it's like that's the crazy thing. Hammer Bros, like that, have gotten so used to it. It's so ingrained into your brain. Like you already know, like when if I'm gonna engage this monster from a side, I know I'm gonna go to non-power stance mode, charge to level 2, and I'll do a sliding slash. And then that'll give me enough distance in order to get in and really start booming its head up. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. In your brain, you guys have worked that into your heads to know how to do that. My teeny tiny fucking shitty brain can't fucking comprehend that. And the thing is, like, Hammer Bros like to make it seem like they're stupid. Like, it's all oonga boonga. Oh, I like to hit things with hard things. Yes! But no, it takes so much effort to think about, oh my gosh, in order to... Have you seen some of the fucking things that I've seen a guy that started that primed one of those baseball swings?
Yeah.
As a Tigrex moved in for its
Oh,
kill
I
strike.
seen that. Yeah.
And like you're gonna tell me that that's just unga bunga? Like that didn't take careful thought and process. Like
that
I know
is
that he's gonna
most of the time we kind of like risk it for the biscuit.
And I get that, but like you have to know it's premeditated. Every attack is premeditated, and it's scary for a person like me that cannot comprehend that. I try so hard, but every time I have used it, I get stuck in the 1, 2, 3 combo bit where I'm doing the same 2 or 3 hits, but I'm not deviating from that, and I know that I'm not doing well enough. I'm doing it disjustice. I could probably watch a video and like probably figure it out, but ultimately, I don't know if I'd like it still, because god damn, even the times when I did hit things, it was hard because you have like you're practically just punching the monster with with how fucking close distance you have to be. You're punching the monster with a big rock on your fist.
Hey, fist weapons, you wanted it? You wanted fist weapons? Fist weapons would be even more close, and you're complaining.
But the thing is like I feel like if you have fist weapons, those are inherently going to be more agile. I feel like fist weapons would have some sort of dash mechanic that would allow you to dash into the monster to get in closer. You have a move like that with hammer, but it's hid behind level 2 charge. You have to be in the right stance, and you have to be charging. You have to be thoughtful of your charges. You can't just hold it, because it's level 2. It's not. It's in the middle. If you just hold it until it overcharges, you're just going to do level 3. So that's why I would place a hammer a little bit lower. I'll agree that like when it comes down to it, I love having hammer hunters in my fights because I know we're gonna knock that monster down at least once. And like whenever I'm in there playing heavy or light bowgun and I'm using stickies, I'm slapping that shit onto the monster's face to help out with those knockouts. And it's always great getting the knockout, especially when we get onto what I would consider to be the superior hammer, hunting horn, Mega S.
I wouldn't be surprised. I'm gonna be surprised by the weapons. Oh, sure, Kane, sure. Whatever you say.
Hey, I'm just saying, okay? Alright, you can debate me and you can... Oh, we got a hydrate from Bojo. And throw something at our face. Did it work? Did it throw things? Did it throw things at us? I didn't hear it. Let me double test it. No, it's not. It's not hitting us. It's not recording? Hold on. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, no, it's there. I don't think it's recording, so.
Here's your drink.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for the drink there, Bojo. We have been talking for a minute. I don't know
Okay.
where it is. I don't know what's going on.
Okay.
Hold on. We gotta troubleshoot something real quick. It is being wonky. Yeah, it's supposed to be working. Give me 1 second. Let's try this again.
Great.
We're on throw scene.
Hammer does belong in S, but I say low S, high A.
Low S, high A.
Yeah.
Okay, while I sort this out, why don't you go ahead and explain your side?
Okay.
Because I'm gonna be talking.
The
for a minute.
hunting horn is one of the greatest support weapons in the game. It can do anything from buffing you, basically giving you mind's eye, right? Can you give you mind's eye? I don't know. Antidotes. Healing.
Yes. Sorry.
Mind's eye. Earplugs. Oh my god. And the damage it can deal. It can deal so much damage.
Alright, there we go.
Especially now in Rise. Oh my god. Things you can do with things in Rise. I'll have Kane explain that later. But, yeah. And it's a great knockout weapon, too. It can just deal so much knockout damage. It is kind of more sluggish than the hammer. I do admit. But, the only reason I would say high A is was the difficulty of learning the hunting horn. Now in Rise, it's just like learn 5 combos and you're good. Just hit these 3 and you're good.
Okay.
Yeah, but like that's why I say low S. But yeah, that's really the only problems of it is just speed and learning it.
Fair. All right. Counterpoint. You're wrong. All right. So I'm
Ow.
joking. All right. So honestly, if I'm gonna be 100%, I'll probably put it in high S. High
S.
High A. Sorry. High A. My bias is showing. Okay. Shut up. So, Hunting Horn in Generation 1 was a pain to use. You had to be in an entirely different stance in order to be able to use the weapon whatsoever, to be able to play songs with it. Otherwise, you would just hit normally and nothing would play.
Yeah.
So, and then like in Generation 2, they've always tried to incorporate some way of trying to get the player to be a bit more aggressive with it, be a bit more whatever with it. In Generation 2, I believe they added the like echo thing where like when you play a song and you play it again, it'll give you a secondary buff of it.
Yeah.
And a lot of, maybe it's not echo, but recital. Anyways, in World, weapon was a decent weapon. You slap Slugger on it, and it deals decent KO damage, while also dealing incredibly good exhaust damage. Exhaust is generally kind of not seen by the community as important, but it is. It really is. It does so much that you don't even notice it.
An exhausted monster means it's slower. It's likely
It's
less
slower,
likely to
you
its
can-
most powerful attacks.
If you're the kind of hunter that brings in like poisoned food, you can give them sleep meat, paralysis meat, all that kind of stuff. You can inflict it with these kind of blights that would be beneficial.
Yeah.
You know, and then yes, you have all the different buffs, and in all the different games, you had a whole list to learn, and it was complicated. It absolutely was, to a point where, like, in World, pretty much every single time you got a new weapon, you had to familiarize yourself with whole new combo sets for every single weapon that you got, because you had to line songs up. In Rise, they streamlined it. Pretty much every weapon has like 4 songs.
Yeah.
And or 3 songs, I'm sorry. And you know, playing each of those songs gives you access to the grand performance, or whatever it's called. Grand something, I don't know. But you do that, you do a lot of hits. Great for elemental damage, which before that, Hunting Horn was never known for elemental damage. And then, you know, the more hits you land on the monster, you know, you build up the infernal melody gauge, which once you pull that off, it's just, you know, even more. Damn it.
You fell asleep. Oh, he's all tuckered out.
It's just it lost me.
Monkey face.
But yeah, no. No, hunting, and then like add in fucking switch skills and Silkbind attacks, and you got like Silkbind Shockwave, which,
Oh my god.
Jesus Christ, it took a weapon that already hit really fast in Rise and made it hit even faster, doubling all of its attacks with shockwaves that dealt true damage. As in, you didn't have to worry about hitting. You didn't have to, like, it always did the same amount of damage, no matter what.
Yep.
And it was doing good damage too. Jesus Christ! Again, slap Slugger on top of a Rise Hunting Horn, and you get knockouts faster than Hammer guys.
Yeah. Bullshit.
Hunting Horn fucking grew up
Yeah.
in Rise. Do I think they're gonna follow that motif in Wilds? No, absolutely
Yeah.
not.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
You
they
know what they're
won't.
gonna do?
Hmm.
They're gonna make the hammer better by giving you 2 hammers.
You're gonna give you the boost hammer. Gonna have a rocket on the bottom of it. All right. So,
Diamond.
in order for a tier list to work, there has to be something on just about every tier. And so I think we can both speak very clearly whenever I say bow belongs in D tier.
Bow, yeah, fuck bow. Fuck the bow. okay.
It has to. Okay,
Nothing against bow users.
a weapon has to arrive here. A weapon has to be here for
Well,
a
it
tier
doesn't.
list. Absolutely. If you're doing a tier list and you're going from best to worst, there's something has to be on every scale for it to actually work.
I mean,
you know?
unless everything's just that great.
Again, but even then, someone would still have to be the worst, which B would be here. It would just be a much, tighter scale. But no. A weapon has to arrive here. It's somewhere down here, and honestly, I just don't think either of us are bow users.
No.
And ultimately, that's nothing against bows. It's just
We just can't comprehend how it works.
it's not the kind of weapon.
I've seen what it can do. I've seen it do amazing things.
Again, you can say that about a lot of weapons, but absolutely, yes, you can do some amazing things. And I think the things they added in World ultimately really helped the weapon. I think that when they reverted back to old bow stuff in Rise, I think actually that kind of hurt my interest in the weapon, because when you add in too many variables to a weapon and it gets too complicated, you have to start having multiple different weapons in order to do the most mundane thing. How you doing, by the way, Careless? Welcome to the stream, man.
Well, bow users.
Yeah. Good to see you, man. But But yeah, no, I mean, like the bow can do some incredible things. Obviously, every weapon can. But it's just it's just not my cup of tea. I want it to be. I've tried. I just can't. And I know I'm not alone in that sentiment.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So.
All right. Next up, and I'm probably gonna put it here as well. The medium bow gun.
I have. Have I ever used it?
I don't know. It was in 3 Ultimate and Try.
Yeah, I've never used it.
So, oh fuck.
I literally know nothing about it. So D it is!
Yeah, that's more or less why I put it here. I still haven't actually I still have not played 3 Ultimate, so I've never actually gotten to experience it here. It's more or less here by proxy of just not necessarily,
Yeah.
being a weapon we've ever really tried. However, from what I know about the medium bowgun, I wouldn't really actually rate it very high anyway, because it's never really it's too heavy to be really good at being a light bowgun, in meaning that you won't have the best mobility while using it, but you also won't really have the better damage and power that you would expect from a heavy bowgun.
Yeah.
And so you're trading it off by being in like the middle of the ground, which honestly, in a game like this, being in the middle isn't really all that great.
Yeah.
So that's why I probably wouldn't rate it really high. I probably wouldn't rate it this low, but like I just have no experience with it.
Yeah.
Maybe that might change when we play 3 Ultimate.
So,
The compromises both strengths. Exactly. Yeah. All right. Next up, you can take this one. Dual blades.
Dual blades. Okay. High S.
IS.
High S.
All right. So let's hear why.
Dual blades. I feel like it's a kind of an easy weapon to learn. You just demon mode, make sure you have stamina, and go to town.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically it. You just swing and swing and swing. They deal so much damage because they're so fast. It's just blah, blah, blah. Sorry, spacing out for a second. They're just so fast and they can just deal so much damage, and not to mention the ailments they can deal. When like you get poison, you get poison in 10 seconds, paralyzed, paralyzed. And oh my god, the elements, and they can do dual elements. You can have 2 types of elements on it at once. That's great. That's fucking fantastic. I think it's the only weapon that can do that.
What's the only weapon with 2 blades?
True. I think. Well, technically, the bowgun can have multiple, but
We're talking about melee weapons.
Sure. Yeah. Also, it's just good in every game it's in. It's like I learned, like, I played this and I was using this in God, what's the Monster Hunter Freedom Unite.
I don't know.
Yeah, Freedom Unite. It was on the PSP.
There were a lot of Monster Hunters on the PSP. There's
Yeah.
the portable series, like Portable Third.
On PSP?
I think so. Yeah, Freedom Unite was also on PSP.
Yeah, Freedom Unite. Yeah, dual blades were great. And then I played Try. Well, Try was the first game. I didn't know what the dual blades were. And then I played fucking Freedom Unite. I was like, God, these weapons are so fucking good. Why wasn't this in Try?
A lot of weapons back cut and Try.
Like, seriously. And then when they brought it in fucking 3U, I was like, oh, fuck yeah. And then they added Slime, or was it Bomb at the time?
No, it's called Slime. It's
Yeah.
called Blast now.
Yeah, Slime. Oh my god. Busted.
Slime dual blades.
And going to Generation and 4U. Great mounting weapon.
Oh, you want to know? actually, I didn't mention this, but I do want
Oh
to,
my God, I'm hungry.
I do want to mention this.
Pizza?
and- please.
I
Two
love that.
slices. 2 slices. Um. But yeah. Okay. So I guess I'll talk about my experience with the dual blades. I probably, if it came to me personally, I probably would rank dual blades in probably low A, upper B. And ultimately, it's because I have tried dual blades. I have tried dual blades for like every game that I've ever every game in the Monster Hunter series, I've tried using the dual blades every time because I keep telling myself I might like it this time. I might like it this time because I'm a weeb. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a fucking weeb. Okay. My original character Galahad from like Loveless is a dual wielder, and and that just happens to be kind of like happens to be my kind of weapon style that I like to use personally. So I think it looks cool. I think it's awesome. But I just can't. I could not get into dual blades, and like just about every game I played it in. Rise was the first game in the Monster Hunter series where I was able to play with dual blades and not just enjoy it, but I was really good at it. It was a completely different kind of experience. And that's why personally I would rank it as high as I have. Like I would probably put it in like low A, high B personally. Yeah, no, I don't know. Right, like I said, Rise is honestly the only one that made the weapon really playable for me. Like again, not just playable, but good at it too. Like there's just those weapons that maybe aren't that great. Like you aren't performing well enough, but you enjoy playing with it. I feel like it's not just like that with me and dual blades. Like I can actually back it up.
Yeah.
So that's my personal opinion. I think we would probably we'll keep it an S, but we'll put it behind Sword and Shield.
Okay.
All right, this way you don't have to or you can focus on making the food. I'll talk about the Prowler next.
Yeah.
And because I know you don't have a whole lot of experience with a Prowler, and I know that the Prowler being up here as a weapon type is just kind of weird, given that like the Prowler is technically its own entity, but I would consider it its own weapon type. It only ever appears in Generations and Generations Ultimate, but it essentially is an a different way to go through Monster Hunter. And in Generations Ultimate, it became my primary weapon type actually. It just let me list down the benefits of playing as the Prowler. Benefit number 1. You have 9 lives. You can literally cart 9 times before you fail. Every single regular cart for the Prowler is 3 acorns each day, and each acorn is each acorn fills you up. Like you die, you just come right back on the spot, ready to do more damage. You don't have to worry about sharpness because your weapon never degrades in sharpness. So you have a weapon with infinite sharpness pretty much. you don't have to take items into a mission at all. As a matter of fact, you don't benefit at all from taking items into a mission. So that means that you can go into a mission to fight a monster and whatever, and spend the entire time and spend like maybe half the time collecting bugs, getting ore, everything else up. You could fill up your entire bag. You can your entire bag and other stuff, and never have to worry about having to leave something behind because you didn't have enough space in your bag. And on top of that, you don't have to have tools to collect bugs or mine ores. Like that's the precursor to what happens in World when it becomes automated automatically. But like in Generations Ultimate, having a whole ass weapon type that just lets you not have to worry about any of that stuff, awesome. Let's talk about the fact that you don't have to worry about ever needing hot or cold drinks. You always know where the monster is. The Prowler has so many goddamn benefits. It is unfair to really class it against any other weapon, and it's why it was my favorite weapon type to use in Generations and Generations Ultimate. If it was only based on Generations Ultimate alone, this would be an easy top tier S rank. It's got great damage, absolute bonkers damage if you build it right. It's got insanely cool customizability because you have so many different Prowler types that you could use. It's got insanely good supportive abilities, having multiple different ways of being able to heal your allies. If you have a healing Prowler and you use an herb horn, you're pretty much giving everybody around you a free potion. It's awesome. But the fact that it literally never shows up again and it's only ever showed up there means that I literally can't rate this any higher than a B.
Yeah.
I literally just cannot in good conscience put this any higher than anything else. I'll put it right here, smack dab.
Put in C for cat.
In the middle of B. Hell no. Can never do that. It's too good to be in C. C is below average. I'll put weapons in B at average. Alright. Next weapon. It's all you, man. What do you want to pick?
The Lance.
The Lance. Where would you place it?
High B, low C.
High B, low C?
Yeah. No, low B, high C, I meant. I'm sorry.
Low B, high C, okay.
That's what I meant.
Okay. Why? Let's hear it.
I mean, for defensive capabilities, it's like one of the most impervious weapons there is. You can take hits for days.
Mm-hmm.
And does great damage with the combo of poke, 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 and poke, poke, poke.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it does that. Kind of about all it can do, really. I mean, Rise gave it some new capabilities. I can't remember the life of me what it was. I know it gets a counter now, but
It's always had a counter.
oh, that was that. I didn't know that. Yeah,
I think at least from World and onwards.
but yeah. Good, but ever since the gun lance became a thing,
Okay.
I kind of think the lance kind of became irrelevant, kind of. You can still find uses for it, but
I think you just like the aggressiveness of the gun lance more.
kind of.
Remember, guys, this may be a tier list, but this is just our opinions.
I just feel like the gun lance is just everything the lance is, but better.
It can. I feel like it does. So, I'd probably place it around the same area, and for a lot of the same reasons. It's a really good stick to the monster kind of weapon, and its tankiness really it can't be understated being able to pretty much stick as close to the monster as possible. And with the lance, it really is as easy as butter. In Rise, they added even more abilities to allow easier usage of the lance to be able to stick to the monster. They added a Silkbind attack that literally acts like a grappling hook to the monster that constantly pushes you right up into its face. And it does get a Silkbind counter that allows it to like increase its overall damage as well.
Mm-hmm.
But like on top of its several different uses of pokes, it has access to a very strong, chargeable side swipe, which originally wasn't all that great. I think in for Ultimate, that's the one that added the swiping slash.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first time where it was actually felt like it was actually any good. And it does have access to like the sprint, which is really strong, really good. But eventually we'll get to a point where we talk about why that is even less impactful when we cover the gun lance. All right, but yeah. So we'll speaking of the gun lance, actually, let's go ahead and place where we would place the gun lance. What do you think?
Low A, high B?
All right, we'll put it on A for now. Go ahead.
Well, like I said about earlier, gun lance just does more lance, but it adds its own little kick by adding the gun part.
Mm-hmm.
Gives you multiple different statuses. It deals nice explosive damage. So many combos you can do with, like especially in Rise now, and the like the charge shot,
Blast dash.
Do so much damage.
Mm-hmm.
And it just overall deals a lot of damage. It also helps, like, keeps you on the monster.
Mm-hmm.
Like, probably not as good as the lance, but almost. That's one thing the lance has over the gun lance.
The defensive
Yeah.
ability?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk defensive ability. This is why I would probably rank the Gunlance in either A or S. Because when if you were to say slap guard up and max out guard on a Gunlance, you will have pretty much an impervious shield that you'll almost never take damage from blocking from, and you almost never get knocked back. And with guard up, you can block otherwise unblockable attacks. Now, there was only one thing that Lance had in World that was better than that, and that was the Super Guard, where you literally turtle yourself behind your shield. And it was so powerful because, like, instead of you blocking damage by like taking a chunk out of your stamina, your stamina just drains and you block everything. And something that a lot of people didn't realize is that it also blocked attacks from behind you. You don't even have to be facing the monster when you're doing it.
Could it even block like behemoths?
No, nothing can block that.
But
yeah, no. If it's a mechanic built to instant 1 KO you, it won't block those kinds of attacks. But like, say Teostra's fucking sun bomb supernova attack bomb thing,
yeah,
it could block that with it. You can use it to block it. They took that out in Rise. Rise doesn't have that, and that was something that was in base World. So it wasn't like Rise and them having conflicting, design dates or whatever. That was already established. So they took that out. And that is the most defensive thing that the Lance had. And now, literally, the Gunlance has everything the Lance had, but better. You have Lance's sprint. Well, you have Blast Dash. You have Blast Dash in Rise. Not to mention you also have Palamutes. And you have the wire bugs. You're not required to use these things, but it's good shit. You have counters with the Silkbind counters, and they're cheap too, and they reload your shit.
Yeah.
It's fucking awesome. You add in normal type with high level shelling. You got full burst for fucking days, and it's dangerous. Like it's rough. And then if you want to talk about World and Iceborne added this little mine that you use. You used slinger ammo.
Yeah.
It could be rocks. It could be scatter nuts. It doesn't matter. It literally does not matter what you throw into it. It just needs to have even just one rock is enough. So, like, you throw that in, you pop it on the monster, and now you've got a little mine that deals additional damage with every explosion, and it stacks with every single fucking Gunlance that fucking has it. And it does it for every single explosion, no matter the weapon type. It even works for the fucking Hadouken emote.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've killed a Baroth with it, by the way, using the Gunlance and then the Hadouken. It was hilarious. It created the best kill screen. I took a picture of it, but I don't know if I have it anymore. But yeah, no, Gunlance is fucking amazing. And like again, like in Rise, it is super defensive. It's got the same defensive capabilities of the regular Lance. It's got a Silkbind counter. It doesn't have a counter built into its kit, but it really doesn't matter. It now auto blocked while using Wyvern's Fire, its longest charging attack. I mean, the only thing that would make Gunlance better is if they brought back the mines or they made Wyvern's Fire just one solid hit rather than 3. That's it. I mean, like, really, honestly, then it would be like a literal perfect weapon. All right. Speaking of perfect weapons, let's talk about Charge Blade. S rank.
Oh, okay, your bias is showing again.
I don't know what you're talking about here. What you're seeing right now is a weapon that can perform on just about every single level. And while it is complicated at a surface level, once you actually dig your feet in and actually get a hang of how it works, it's incredibly simple. Because like it pretty much goes like this. Is your shield charged? No? Charge the shield. Is the shield charged? Yes? Charge the sword. Is the sword charged? Okay. Charge up files. Are you full of files? Use them. And then that's the cycle. And while it does kind of build you into this kind of rhythmic fighting loop where you're kind of utilizing the same kinds of ways to attack, integrating different things that you could do into those things allow you to, I don't know, like, different things that they've added since, it originally released,
Yeah.
And then on top of that, let's talk about how fucking absolutely busted it was in fucking 4 Ultimate. It was absolutely dog shitting on everything to a point where they absolutely had to nerf it into the water in Generations Ultimate, to a point where they had to start buffing it when it came to World and Rise. Mm-hmm. And even in Rise, it's not nearly as good as it used to be. So, like, even as powerful as it is, I still think that it has room for improvement. I probably wouldn't realistically put it in S rank. I'd probably put it in high A.
Yeah.
But it can't be understated. It's got a shield, so you can block attacks. It's got guard points integrated into its attack, so you can block sometimes from just attacking a monster. By charging the sword, you have access to Mind's Eye all the time. The elemental discharge attacks, even the basic ones, not even the super elemental discharge, are all really strong, and it does feel really good when you plant those bursts down. It feels really good, even in the older games. It's always felt very cathartic to use the charge blade, and like you do run into that same problem earlier where I mentioned about the great sword, where when you block you lose sharpness, but that can be mitigated by just charging your shield. And you know what's cool about charging your shield? It gains the benefits of a lance shield. You have the power of a lance shield with a weapon that attacks way faster than lance. So yeah, no, I think I would probably put it on a high A, low S. Where do you feel it belongs?
Like, B. Good spot, because I still think it might be B for me, but since it's like that, I think A should be it.
Did I just convert you?
No.
No. Like, I'm not gonna start using the.
No.
All right.
It's whack.
All right. So I'm gonna slap this here. Might seem a little controversial. I'm gonna put longsword in C.
Because it stands for cool.
No, it stands for cunt. Because everyone fucking hates these assholes. All right. No, honestly, when it comes to the longsword, personally, I know that like if I was a great longsword player, I would probably put it in S. It has access to some of the best moves. It outreaches the great sword and wake up damage now with Rise. It has access to so many different counters. It has so many different ways it can build up spirit charge now. It is such an incredibly great weapon, and I know it's incredible, and Capcom wants me to know that it's incredible, but here's something: I can't fucking stand longsword users. I'm sorry. I am fucking sorry, dude. When I have to start slotting in flinch free whenever I have to hunt with you, I'm resenting every minute of it. And I know there's a new skill now you can get that, you know, pretty much is just like level 1 flinch free, except it allows you to be, you know, knocked out of sleep and other things like that, which flinch free wouldn't allow you to do.
Yeah.
But that's just another skill that you have to slot in, knowing if you have to deal with like a longsword user.
Yeah.
And I know it's not that big of an inconvenience, but it's still a fucking inconvenience. I don't want to have to do it if I don't want to. Okay? But if I'm sitting here trying to capture the monster and you keep fucking swiping at me,
Oh, tell them how you really feel.
or you know, when for whatever reason you just have longsword users just don't like attacking the tail, like, bro. Yeah, Oonga Boonga Hammer Man over there just doing his fucking thing. You keep tripping him up with your fucking long ass sword slashes because you're like, oh man, it'd be so much better if I could just attack in the face. But then you're like, oh, you know what would be great? Yeah, you know that fucking tail that you can slice off with your slicing long sword that has Mind's Eye with its spirit slashes. And like the thing is like it gets so bad that like you want to try it because you know it's a really good fucking weapon, but you know the second you take it into online play, you're gonna be the same person you resented for years, and then you eventually fucking don't stop using it because you start getting so comfortable with it.
I would put it in A. Okay. Okay.
I'm just saying. It's not a bad weapon, but
it's great whenever I've used it. I love using it when I can. I just never use it in Rise because everything else is just gimmicker, and I like it.
Yeah, it's like I said, longsword has so much going for it, but that's a problem now. Now you have an objectively best weapon in the series, which is just lame. I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't like there being a definitively best weapon. Again, like I said earlier, I feel it's very fair to say that, all the weapons are the best. I feel like that's very fair. You can make an argument that any of these weapons can be incredible. All right. Anyways, onwards and upwards with the Switch axe.
S. MIDI S. First ever game, Monster Hunter Tri. The weapon that helped me ever beat the game was that fucking weapon. It is a godsend. And that was even easier to use now. Thank fucking God. Oh my God! It's so many attempts. I remember trying to get that charge, like that charge hit, and then I just knocked me away. Now it's just so much easier with the wire bugs and shit. Oh my God! No, this game. I mean, sorry, I'm high shit. This weapon means so much to me. It's so nostalgic. It's the first weapon I've ever connected with.
I feel that. That's me in the charge blade. Alright, so I feel you. I feel like ever since they actually introduced it, they've only ever really improved upon it. It started out in Generation 3.
Yeah.
And if I'm correct, in Tri, it was a weapon you had to unlock. It was a weapon you had to first unlock before you could ever actually even start using it. And then even in Tri and 3 Ultimate, there weren't even actually a whole lot of different designs. There weren't not every monster had a switch axe.
Yeah.
And I can feel like that being a difficult thing to deal with at the time. It's definitely gotten a bit better nowadays. I think in Generation 4, it was pretty okay. When it comes to Generation 4, for me, what got me was Generations and Generations Ultimate. aerial switch axe was awesome.
Yeah.
It was legitimately the funnest I've ever had with switch axe, except in Rise nowadays. And that's why I live and die by the swag axe, like moniker. It fits.
Yeah.
And just like how we were talking earlier about like how aerial style trivialized insect glaive. Aerial style helped define switch axe for me.
Yeah.
Sword attacks were so good. You dealt so much damage, and it was so easy to get mounts. And then like it practically had no negatives. Like every weapon had a negative for being an aerial. Not for switch axe. Not really. The only thing you lost out on was grounded elemental discharges, but you could still do those in midair. So, like, if anything, it just meant that you had additional opportunities for you to potentially blow a motherfucker up out of the sky. And then, like, you got World, which added a zero-sum discharge, where you plant the weapon into the monster, and it explode off to that. I remember being in Octapharma, getting ready to donate plasma whenever the trailers for World came out, and they showed this. And I was so excited because I was just starting to get into Switch Axe because of Generations Ultimate.
Yeah.
Or not Generations Ultimate, Generations. So yeah, World having all this stuff going on with all that, it was awesome. And then in Rise, it just made it even better. They're like, all right, so this zero-sum discharge can be difficult to do. Let's do a condensed one where you have you get a fucking spin attack instead of an explosion. You get a giant spin attack, which trades damage for overall range. Great stuff. The Silkbind attacks are freaking awesome. Soaring Wyvern Blade is so much fucking fun. You use the fucking zero sum discharge, blow right off the monster, then immediately like go back in for another fucking attack, another explosion, and I literally have an entire set of weapons. A whole set in Rise dedicated to different elemental switch axes because the damage is so good. It's meaty and delicious, and now they've made it so good that like the file effects affect both the axe and the sword at the same time now. So you can benefit from using both. It's no longer once you're in charged sword mode, just go apeshit with sword. Now you can switch and it's fine. It's actually better because you conserve more sword gauge. And I agree with you entirely. S rank, definitely, without a doubt. Switch axe is awesome. Spectacular weapon.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Light bow gun.
I think A.
I would put it in probably high B, low A. Personally, put it in B. I put it high B. Okay. Below. We'll put it behind Greatsword.
Yeah.
And here's why. For me, when it comes to a light bow gun, it requires a very specific gun for you to be able to optimally use it. Like generally speaking, you have to have one gun that pretty much uses a rapid fire of the specific ammo type that you're trying to utilize the most of. So like you want a good piercing weapon. All right, you got to find a really good piercing
Gun.
light bow gun. Yeah. Sorry. In order to, you want something that does a lot of stickies. All right, well, you're gonna have to find a specific one for that. And while you open yourself up a little bit more for a little bit more when you have such variety with like the ammo types that you can carry. Mm-hmm. But knowing that you essentially have to have one weapon specifically for like excelling in any one part. With the weapon, which is the only reason why you'd want to use this over the heavy counterpart, in my opinion, is the rapid fire. That'd be the only reason why you'd want to use it over the other one.
Yeah,
The rapid fire, where you fire off 2 to 3 shots per ammo used.
yeah.
So and it makes really good for elemental ammo. It makes really good for status ammo, and you've seen me in piercing ammo. Like multi-hit and high affinity weapons are also really good too.
Yeah.
Because you have the more shots, the more damage, the more procs you have at critting and all that other stuff. But that generally, in order to get to that point, requires so much material investment. You have to have so much like on your person for rebuilding that exact same ammo type. So if like say you're doing slash ammo, you have to carry 99 slash berries on you, and you have to have a special thing in your pouch set up to where you can auto craft them on a whim, just so that way you can keep slicing ammo up, so that way you can keep benefiting from your best method of damage. And that's stressful, and it's also not nearly as intuitive as people think it is. And again, like it's a light bowgun. You lack in damage. Yes, you get mobility, and that's great. Can't be understated enough. But you get a lot of distance on your rolls with a heavy bowgun that, like, honestly, the mobility is negligible.
Yeah.
Especially in Rise, when it's become so much easier to put your weapon away or wire bug out of certain situations. So it probably isn't anyone's it's probably not a surprise if I rank heavy bowgun higher than I would rank.
I would rank it high.
I put it somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
I wouldn't rank it higher than hammer.
Heavy bowgun has its uses. It does very heavy damage, and for element you need it to. But it has the same problem with light bowgun. You have to find the specific gun for the specific needs that you need. But once you find it, oh boy, you're in for a treat. Not only does it do a lot of damage, you get boosted defense depending on what attachment you add to it. It has a great guard, and the Wyvern Fire. Yeah, the Wyvern Fire. Oh my god, it does so much damage.
Oh yeah, definitely. So when it comes to me and the heavy bowgun, I've seemed to have picked it up mostly more in the later generations, from Generation 5 and so on. I've attempted to use it in Generation 4, where like it was always very difficult for me to know if I'm doing anything. And a lot of that has to do with like a lot of the different ammo types in previous generations didn't feel like they had nearly as much of an impact as the new ammo types do. And you do have the benefit of having damage numbers with Generation 5 and onwards. That you have a visible idea of how much damage you're doing. And the thing is like I didn't realize nearly the discrepancy in damage that I was dealing with whenever I realized that like if we judge it about the same way, like you can go from doing like 20 damage per pellet to 2 damage just by being a little too far away.
Yeah.
And so I'm just imagining that like my hunts even in like Generation 4 must have been so much longer than even I would have imagined. If I had tried to stick with it. But honestly, it really grew into a really great weapon. Same could be said about the light bowgun as well in this regard, because of its overall ease. With how to aim it now and everything else, it's practically a third-person shooter.
Yeah.
Which honestly, I'm fine with. And Wyvern Heart, not be understated. Wyvern Heart is probably the best thing they've ever added to the heavy bowgun. Wyvern Blast on light bowguns, while useful, especially in Rise when you can plant them directly on the monster, while useful in application, they it's just it doesn't feel nearly as good to use. There's just a certain catharsis you get from just going full lead in
Yeah.
into a monster and just pumping it down with iron. uh and then like you in Rise you can charge the ammo types now.
Oh yeah.
In Rise you can charge the ammo types, that makes them even stronger. And for some ammo types it makes really good damage, really good stuff. It does make an already really slow weapon even slower, because
Yeah.
in order to maximize your damage you're probably charging every shot. But even still, it's still a great weapon. Well, a level 3 charged Wyvern's Fire is no fucking joke. I mean, yeah. So it's definitely no joke. You can definitely fuck somebody's day up. And God, wake up damage but heavy bowgun is always a really good secondary option if you don't have a great sword user, because their Wyvern's Fire, especially in Rise with the charge mechanic and everything else, you get all the stuff in order to make it even stronger. Level 3 charge Wyvern's Fire is just sick.
Oh yeah.
And do that on a wake up damage with bombs, and you got a recipe for incredibly good damage. So yeah, I think and then yeah, exactly, in fucking in many of the games you can add shields and other things. In World you had their entire different tree of things that they can customize their heavy bowguns with, or bowguns in general. So you could really customize your heavy bowgun really well, and you had access to some of the best stuff too. In Rise is a little bit simpler, but still fun, still good, honestly. And yeah, honest, that's the entire tier list, dude. That's all the weapons. So on our list we got Switch Axe, Sword and Shield, Dual Blades in S. We got Charge Blade, Hunting Horn, Hammer, Heavy Bowgun, and Gun Lance in A. Great Sword, Light Bowgun, Insect Glaive, Prowler, and Lance in B. I already said B, I don't remember. And we have the Long Sword in C for Cunt. And we got the Bow and Medium Bowgun in D. This has been the Monster Hunter weapon tier list. We could have covered weapons from Frontier, and by God, I tried to find a way in which we could legitimately learn about these weapons by being able to play Frontier ourselves.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that is beyond the scope of what I can do. And it is I don't know. So we had to dodge those. Otherwise, I would have loved to have.
Oh my God, I would have loved to go Frontier.
I would have loved to see the kind of different weapons and how those weapons could have impacted how we look at these weapons, or even how Frontier could have taken these weapons
and
and
monsters too, man. We got what was the monster for Frontier we got in
Espinos.
Yeah, that was fucking dope.
Espinos is really cool.
Fuck his cousin though.
All right, so yeah, I think this is a bit of a different stream for us. We don't normally do a whole lot of just chatting streams where we're just sitting here and gabbing mostly. And this was less of a hey, let's just sit here and make a tier list, and more of let's just sit here and gush for a minute about Monster Hunter.
Yeah, because this is a great series. I can't wait for the fucking Wilds. I can't wait to see more about it.
I'm hoping that with Wilds it doesn't end up turning out for you like World was. Because I feel like when it comes to new Monster Hunter games, we always get like super duper invested and get interested and play it, and then I don't want us to fall out of it. Yeah, we can get snacks. All right, so yeah. Anyways, guys, we're gonna go ahead and end the stream here. I'm gonna double check to see if we have anybody that's streaming right now. We do not have any friends streaming right now, just me.
It's pretty late.
Alright, so yeah. Alright guys, thank you so much for coming in and checking out the stream as always. It's always great to hang out with y'all. And this is a little bit different from what we normally do, I know, but like I don't know, we want to do things like this where we just sit and we just chat and talk about like the kind of things that like engage us, because like we would like to open up, find out a little bit more about ourselves, let you guys know a little bit more about ourselves,
Yeah.
and whatnot. So anyways guys, thank you again. I know I keep saying thank you and all that stuff, but honestly, just yeah, hope you guys have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Hey, you're at the end of the stream. Whoa! Thanks for coming in and checking it out. Danny Man and I are always striving to make some awesome content, so if you have any suggestions, please use the suggestion box here or in our Discord server. If you like my wacky hijinks and energy, feel free to follow. And if you love the content so much that you want to support further, you can subscribe. See you guys next stream.